Hey bruh, today we're going over an anime where the girl flirts with somebody in a foreign language, but she doesn't realize he actually understands her. So we start off in the first episode with a silver-haired girl walking, and we see everybody and their mama around her glazing her. We got niggas calling her a bad bitch. We got hoes calling her a bad bitch. She getting called a bad bitch by everybody. Hell, we even see the school pretty boy, as they called him, right? Walk up confidently, hey, what's a good shawty? Hey, you gonna hang out during lunch? She says no. And then he's like, okay, well, what about, can I get some contact information? And then she says, get your ugly ass out my face, I'm not interested. And then calls that nigga chain fade. And then we hear the crowd noise like, damn, that nigga got rejected like a motherfucker. So then we cut to her going in the classroom, right? She sits down and then calls for her friend to wake up, but he doesn't, so she kicks the fuck out of his desk. Which he's better than me, cause I would've Chris Breezy though. Anyway, after he fell, right? She then asked why he's so tired. Was he up all night watching anime again? He was like, no, I wasn't watching anime. I was having a discussion about anime. So then she proceeds to flame him for a few more minutes. They go back and forth, and then he looks in his desk and notices that he doesn't have his history book, so asks to share with her. So then we fast forward to when class starts, right? We see the teacher writing down the notes and wants a student to say what the rest of the notes are, and then he was about to goddamn fall asleep while it was going on. So then this bit opts to stab this nigga. Yo, I would've Chris Breezy the bit. What does this nigga do? Anyway, the teacher takes his noise after getting stabbed as, oh, he's volunteering to answer and finish the rest of the notes. So then she points at something on the desk, and he thinks, oh, she's helping me out with a good friend. Turns out she was sabotaging that nigga to make him look dumb. And then not only that, she then opts to answer the question correctly. So he confronts her about it, saying, I thought you were helping me out. But she says, I never said I was helping you out. I was just pointing at the question. And then she calls him a cutie, right? But she does it in Russian, so she thinks that he doesn't know, but it turns out he does. And then we learn about a childhood friend he had that was a Russian girl, and that's how he knows how to speak Russian, because they used to have some conversations in Russian. But he won't tell her that he can understand what she's saying in Russian, because then her reaction to what she's been saying to him would be god-awful. We then cut to what I assume is lunchtime or break time. I don't know what the hell this is, but he's on his phone, and then she's like, mighty bold of you to be on your phone in front of a student council member. You can only be on your phone when it's freaking emergency. Shut the fuck. Anyway, he says it is an emergency. Turns out it wasn't. It was I forgot what he said it was, but it's something with baddies on it, right? So then she snatches his phone, notices that it's a bad silver-haired girl, right? And then gives his phone back, and then she says in Russian, you realize I have silver hair too, you cheater. But again, she doesn't realize that he can hear her and understand her. But he plays it off again and acts like he didn't understand what she said, and then she plays it off as if it was an insult again. So then we cut to lunch, and then we see one of the main character's friends crying that he can't get no bitches on his dick. And then after a bit of crying a little bit more, we then see the student council walk in, which is full of 10 out of 10s in the eyes of everybody else in the school. So then the person that was crying is like, hey, if I had to shoot at one, no, I'd shoot at her, right? And the main character basically tells that nigga he's not like that and he can't get no bad bitch. But then we see the main character make eye contact with one of the student council members, and then she walks over there, asks if she can sit with them, and then the silver-haired girl follows her. So then when she sit down, she having a yap session about ramen, how good ramen is, all these other things, and it kind of makes the silver-haired girl a little jealous. So she's like, oh, y'all are friends? And she's like, yeah, we've been friends since we were children. So then he asks if she's friends with the silver-haired girl, and he's like, oh, we're not really friends, but I'll be open to it, but it don't look like the girl is really feeling that. So he's like, but I'm not opposed to it. And then at that moment, we see his friends get up, and then his friend, the nigga who is crying he can't get no bitches, whisper in his ear, cuz I don't think I'm cut out. There's too many beautiful women around. My nigga, you was just crying, you don't get hoes. Anyway, we see the girl move closer, and the silver-haired girl get jealous of it, right? And then she basically begs him to join the student council because he used to be efficient at things back then, right? It kind of shocked the silver-haired girl that he was ever efficient at things, but he still rejects her offer. After lunch, the girl leaves, and then the girl's like, oh, I didn't know you had girls that were friends. I didn't know you're capable of doing that. So then he asked her, wait, I thought you counted as a friend, right? So then she was like, oh, you consider me a friend? But then she walks away, tries to play it off, but she was really happy as hell that he said that. We then get a flashback to the Russian girl that he was talking about earlier that he knew as a child, right? And they used to talk in Russian. He literally learned Russian just for the sake of talking to her, which is some simp ass shit, by the way. And they were watching the sunset together, and then after they got done doing that, she kisses him on the cheek, and then we see it wasn't just a flashback, it was a dream of his, and he talks about not remembering the girl's name. So then we see that he goes to school a little early, right, get some chores done. The Russian girl comes in and shocked that he got some chores done after he explained that's why while he's there. And then he notices that she has a stain on her long sock, and then she explains to him that a truck drove by some dirty water and it splashed on her, no big deal. So then she asks him right after the girl had did yesterday, right? She was like, oh, well, you sure you don't want to join student council? He says, yes, I'm sure, don't bug me about it. And she was like, whatever. Then she proceeds to start taking off her sock, and he's startled, and she notices. So then she's ready to tease him, right? Tells him to get some socks out of his locker. He gets the socks, and then she's like, it can be a treat for you if you put the sock on my leg. So then she says in Russian that it would be a treat for her too, but then she plays it off like she called him a coward, gets the sock, is about to put it on herself, but he tries to take initiative and put it on her. But she was clearly stunned by it, right? And while he's putting it on, he touches the area of her thigh that's a little crazy, and she absolutely mollywops this nigga with her leg. We then cut to later on in the day. He goes to apologize about the morning. She says she's over it, and then apologizes for kicking him in the face, right? And then says, thank you for giving me a peek into the promised land. And she was like, wait, that means you were looking at my pussy. And then freaking punches the goofy out of him and starts running away. But he runs after her to say that they should talk things out, right? And then they go all around the school until they finally both run out of breath. So then he offers her a drink, right? And then she says, do you want a sip in Russian too? And then plays that off again. And he's like, cuh, I understand what you're saying. He just can't express that he can. And that's basically the end of the episode. Now this is kind of interesting, because it's like, yo, cuh, what is this going to be made of? Now this seems like it could be interesting long term, but I forgot how many episodes it is. I don't know if they could make 12 episodes of this being interesting, but we'll see.